Hello scholars, so here's a video to walk us through this week's discussion activity. We're going to look primarily at your final speech and do a little bit of outlining for it, specifically through the guise of Monroe's motivated sequence, which we worked through last week. So this week I would like you to list out the 5 steps of Monroe's, which I have listed here in our discussion post. And I'd like you to talk a little bit on each step about what you'll be doing. And I'm going to run through what we're doing and maybe give you some tips and some hints here as we go through. So, like all speeches, Monroe's motivators, and really even acts of communication. But Monroe starts with an attention step. And what is it that you think you would like to do to gain our attention? And remember, you don't necessarily have to give everything away right away. Like, you don't have to tell us exactly what the topic is, because what you want to do is get us interested and what your topic will be. And if you want to talk more about that topic, that's fine, but do something that grabs us. And there's a lot of ways to go about that. You can use some interesting statistic, you can use a set of rhetorical questions where you lead us into it. But do take the time to get us excited. And think about yourself as a listener. What is it you would need to hear to get yourself interested in this particular topic? And usually that's not a single question or one line of information. And get us excited. As I wrote here in the discussion is, this is sort of like a movie trailer where you're trying to get us really excited about what's going on without telling us everything that's going to happen. Because if we show everything in the movie trailer, then people aren't going to want to go and pay for the movie. So what is it you want to do? And whatever you decide this week, it's not set in stone. Like, we can change some things. You've got a chance to hear from your classmates a couple of times before this is going to be finally due. And if you want to bounce some ideas off of me, you're more than welcome to. Once that's done, get to that problem section, what Monroe calls the need. That's question 2 for us right here. So what is the problem that you're solving with your app? Because the app that you're asking us to download, that's our solution step. That's the satisfaction step. And what problem does it solve? So if you're asking us to download some sort of an exercise app, you kind of have to think of the opposite of that. Like, what is it that solves? And of course, it would solve something like Mr. A's sort of doughy body will be nicer to our classmates than that. And as you work through those problems, I would actually like you this week to find a couple of sources of information. It would help us to understand the scope of the problem if you brought in some sort of expert testimony, some information that we can trust beyond what you personally believe and what you think. So telling us who said something, why we should trust them to say it, and probably most importantly, how that affects your listeners, your classmates. And I want you to be very careful with your with your sources, because sometimes we find a bit of information that's so great that we forget to really check the source, and well, that's not going to help us out a lot. Because, well, you know what? I'll give you an example. So here's a weird thing for me to say on a video about persuasion, but we're talking about source citations. So, hey, dolphins like to get high. Now, maybe some of you have seen this on a nature documentary, and some of you, this is brand new information to you. So if I say that, because it's probably not a common knowledge bit of information, I need to give you a source for that. I need to tell you where that information came from. So I'm a smart person, I hope. So I go and I do my research, and, well, we're going to ask the lord of the internet, Google, do dolphins like to get high? And, well, right there at the top, according to scientists, dolphins like to get high, and they share their recreational drugs with their friends. So there's some information there. But can we trust that source? And that's important. I want you to ask yourself that question. Can I trust that? Now look where this is coming from. The website is called brobible.com. And I'm going to go out on a limb real quick and just say that a website called Bro Bible is probably not the foremost source of information on dolphins or environmental issues. And let's look. Let's see what Bro Bible is. And if we type in Bro Bible, we'll get probably some of the recent news hits. The latest from Bro Bible. These are the most hackable passwords, and it's time to change yours. Here's a ranking of all the major lines of the second episode of Game of Thrones, and 24 of the best damn photos on the internet this morning. Okay, let's not cite Bro Bible. So we go back to our first page. Do dolphins like to get high? And we scroll down a little bit. And the next source is ABC News. What's a little bit better? That's a trusted news site. But it's not necessarily a science site, is it? We go down even a step further and we see The Independent. This is a more legitimate science institution. It's UK based. Maybe not all of you are very familiar with it. So we'll just take a little bit more of a peek here. And there we go. This fourth one down here, well, the Smithsonian. And almost all of us are well aware that the Smithsonian is one of the foremost institutions of higher learning in environmental and nature sciences. And the Smithsonian says that dolphins seem to use toxic pufferfish to get high. So we've got something pretty interesting here. My goodness, I'm getting a lot of pop-ups here. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not telling you to do this at this exact moment, though I won't be upset with you if you take a couple of minutes. If you go to YouTube and you type in dolphins getting high, there's a video called Pass a Puffer that was in a Smithsonian show showing dolphins actually grabbing a pufferfish, shaking it a little bit so it releases toxic pufferfish venom, and getting high off of it. It's actually very interesting. They take a scientific approach to it. I'm not trying to advocate anything beyond that. It's just fascinating. And then there's just a short 3-minute video that you can go check that out. I'm not going to watch it for you right now. So anyways, I would like you to find a couple of sources of information that show us that your problem exists and then relate it back to our classmates. All right, so if we're going to keep on with that exercise app idea, it's pretty easy to show that lack of exercise leads to a lot of things that negatively affect students. Certainly, exercise can help with our stress. It helps, well, with Mr. A's doughy body. It helps with our sleep. It helps with maybe even with our eating habits. So there's a lot of things that you can address without really getting too far into it, and it's very easy to prove. So that third step then, the second main point, this is the solution section. You already basically have this done. You know what your topic is, and your solution is, hey, let's download this application to our smartphones, and then we'll be able to solve that problem that I was just talking to you about. And remember, Monroe calls this the satisfaction step. And I really like that nomenclature because it satisfies the need. It takes care of a problem that we know we need to fix. And this might be a very short section for you, but here, again, I think it would be of great benefit if you were to cite the application or the developers of the app to tell us a little bit about what they say the product does. Okay? And we move on to the fourth step, Monroe's visualization step, which is really interesting. It's that step that's all about practicality and showing us how much better our life will be if we go and follow your plan. So if Mr. A downloads, or any of us downloads your exercise app, what happens? What do we see? How do things change for us? Perhaps Mr. A is going to get in a little bit better shape, and I don't even know I did that. And next semester I'll have to change the application I talk about because I can't talk about my my out of shape body anymore. But your app should have some stuff in there for you already. You can go and pull some of the testimonials, the reviews of the app off, and talk about what users of that application say they've gotten for results. And if you've used any of this thing like yourself, like if you've used anything like it, if you've used this thing for yourself, it would be great if you talk to us about your own experiences too. And in point of fact, if you want to talk about your own experiences throughout here, that's fine. I still would just really like it if we cited some stuff and brought in some other information. And then finally, step 5, the call to action. Again, you already have this done. This is once more urging our classmates to download that app and use it to help satisfy the need that you've pointed out to us in the beginning of the speech. So take a look at these things through, and remember, like, the more you get done this week, the less you're going to have to do over the next 2 weeks getting yourself all set and ready to be successful here at the end of the semester. So jump into this. Let me know what questions you have. I'm happy to chat with you about those things. We can hop on Skype and talk later this week if you want, or email, whatever you need, carrier pigeons. I'll open up my window and let the bird in through through the screen if need be. So hop on that. Be sure you're getting your responses in on Sunday, and I will see you online here very soon.